Good morning and welcome to our revision in managerial economics. We're going to look at several topics from previous exam and test papers. So we're going to look at last year's paper on the topic elasticity. The question says, according to a study, the price elasticity of shoes in Zambia is 0.7 and income elasticity is 0.9. Now, would you recommend Bata Shoe to cut prices to increase its revenue? Briefly explain your answer. Now, if you're going to look at the elasticities that are there, we have 0.7, which is inelastic. And you must understand that elasticity has ranges. Anything below 1 is inelastic. Anything above 1 is elastic, and exactly 1 is unit elastic. What this simply means is, if it is inelastic, the percentage increase in price will not be as much as the percentage decrease in the quantity demanded, because it is insensitive. So at 0.9, you just multiply it by the percentage increase. If you're going to increase by 10%, it means you lose demand by 7% for elasticity of demand. For income, we're told that it's 0.9. So income, you must understand that the principle here is simply that if it's a positive, it's a normal good, meaning an increase in the price and the income will also result in an increase in the demand for a particular commodity. Except that in this case, this is 0.9, which is less than 1. So this simply implies that the percentage increase in your income will not be the same as the percentage increase in the demand. So if your income increases by 10%, it simply means that your demand for a particular good will increase by 9%. So based on the information given, it is therefore not necessary to cut the prices to increase sales revenue. Elasticity is very important to play around with revenue increases, especially when you know that demand is elastic. In Lusaka, I saw a filling station where Mount Mary was selling at a 20% discount. So people were flocking and fuel was not usually there because demand is very elastic. But if you hear that people are selling razor blades at a discount of 20%, no one will rush because it is inelastic. It's not very sensitive. You don't buy it on a daily basis. So I'm trying to resonate with this question so that you understand so much that there are certain necessities that are important in pricing, especially in this regard where we're talking about the Bata Shoe who has an elasticity of 0.7. So is it necessary to reduce the price to increase sales? No, it is not necessary, because elasticity is 0.7, which is less than 1. And therefore, you're only going to increase, if you're going to increase the reduce price by 1%, you're only going to gain customers by 0.7%. Then looking at income as well, which is 0.9, if you're going to increase, of course, it just shows you that reducing the price will increase disposable income for them to spend on the goods, but not necessary because demand is inelastic. Part 2, based on the expected income will increase by 10%. What will be the implications? So like I mentioned, since we have 0.9 increase by 10% will result in an increase in demand for the shoes by 9%. So this is coming from the principle that elasticity of demand or elasticity of income is given by what? Percentage change in quantity in income divided by percentage change in quantity. So I want to know the demand, how it increased. So our income elasticity is 0.9. And we're told that income wants to change in it in quantity, then here percentage change in income. So we're told that the income has increased by what? By 10%. So to calculate the percentage increase in income, we just cross multiply this by that. 0.9 times 10 will therefore give us 9%. This is a percentage change in what? In income. In quantity demanded, sorry. So if your income increases by 10%, you're going to have a 9% increase in income. Then we go to the cost function. We go to the cost function. So we're given in this question total cost function. Now, before I go there, there's some basic explanation to say cost analysis. You must understand that if you have a function like n plus 2q squared plus 3q, the constant part is called the fixed cost. The variable part, which has a quantity, is called the variable cost. So anything differentiated is called margin. So when differentiate this total cost function, it is called marginal cost. So then when differentiated, it is a 0. 2q squared when differentiated, multiply 2 times 2 is 4. We subtract 1 from the power there, we have 1 plus 3q when differentiated is going to be 3. When you divide our average, when you divide our total cost, total fixed cost, and divide it by q, it is going to be called our average fixed cost. When you divide the total variable cost by q, it's going to be called our average variable cost. So what is our average total variable cost in this case? 2q squared plus 3q. When we divide this total variable cost divided by quantity, So here we're going to have what? And divide by Q here. 2Q squared and divide by Q. 2Q. And 3Q divided by 2, it is 3. Are we following?
Yes.
So this becomes the average variable cost. Now, sometimes we'll be given the value of Q. For instance, if Q is 2, what is the actual value? So here our total fixed cost is what? 10. Meaning 10 divided by 2 is equal to the average fixed cost, which is 5. Then here also, we find our average variable cost. We divide the Q into the total cost, total variable cost, which was 2Q plus 3. But now we've been given a value of Q, which is 2. So where there is a Q, we put a 2. So 2 times 2 plus 3. This is equal to 4 plus 3, which is 7. Now I'm trying to
Sorry, Collins, but I've seen the 3 also has a Q. Why are we not replacing it with 2?
which one has a Q?
The 3 in the TVC is equal to 2Q squared plus 3Q.
Because we divided Q in there, it is 2Q. Q in the 3Q, the Q goes out. So our new function is this one here.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? All right. So we now go to the exam question, where we can apply this concept to the exam. So I sent you the exam question. It's the same question with this miracle kit. So we're given this function here, the total cost function. So I want you to help me find the total cost, the fixed cost and the variable cost. Which one's the fixed cost here and which one's the variable cost?
The fixed cost is 150.
The fixed cost is 150, correct? And the variable
Yes.
cost
Is 0.01.
rise up on 01. This is a fixed cost and this is a variable cost, all of it.
Yes.
So the total fixed cost, please mute your mics. The total fixed cost is 150, meaning the average fixed cost is what? 150 over Q, isn't it? The total variable cost is what? 2Q plus 0.01 Q to the power 0.5, meaning the average variable cost. We divide Q in each of these ones. So the 2Q becomes what? 2 plus 0.0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 . 0 0.01 q to the power. So when you divide that one, it will simply be 0.01 q to the power negative what? Negative half. We're dividing by q there. What is q into? So we just subtract it. Half minus 1. So that's what we're going to have there. Then how do we find the marginal cost? We differentiate this function.
Sorry, Colin. Aren't we multiplying 0.01 by 0.5 when we're differentiating?
When we're dividing, first of all, because average variable cost is total variable cost over quantity. So we're dividing in each of these ones by quantity. So 2q by q, we get a 2. 0.01 q to the power 5, and divide that. So when you're dividing indices, for instance, 2q to the power 5 over q to the power 3. This is the same as q, 5 minus 3, which is 2. So the answer will be 2q to the power 2. Okay, just subtract this minus that. Or we know that there are 5 q's there and the 3 q's just cancel. 3 into 5 q's remain with 2. But where we have 2q to the power 0.5. And here we have over q to the power 1. So this is simply 0.5 minus what? 1, which is negative 0.5. So here the answer would be 2q to the power negative 0.5 or negative half. So it's the same thing that I'm trying to explain here. When you divide q by 2, this one is okay, it is 2, they cancel out. 0.01 q to the power 0.5 divided by q, it will be negative half or negative 0.5. Is this clear?
It is.
Then the marginal cost to differentiate this function. 150 becomes 0. 2q becomes 2. Then 0.01 q to the power 0.5, you multiply this times that one, we get what? 0.0005. Then you subtract 1 minus 0.5, we get negative 0.5. Now, these are the functions that we are interested in, the average cost and the marginal cost. So this average variable cost. Now, the average total cost, how do we get the average total cost? We divide the total cost divided by what? Quantity. So 150 plus 2q plus 0.01 q 0.5. Then whenever you want to find average, it's better you spread the q throughout individual. So here the final answer is what? 150 over q plus 2 plus 0.01 q to the power negative 0.5. So this is a function that we have here. So I just give you what I did in the Miracle Kit so that it could explain to you step by step. So we are told in here to calculate the fixed cost, that is the constant, which is 1/5. Average cost and marginal cost at 50 units. First, we calculate the average cost, which is total cost over quantity. So we're going to divide the total cost here over quantity. You can choose firstly to even substitute the q in the total cost function. So to give you 250, 0.70. Then you divide this one by quantity. 250, 0.707 divided by quantity, you get 5.0014. Approximately 5 at 50 units. Then to find the marginal cost, you differentiate the function. The TC over the Q. Here, our 150 falls out. Then 2Q becomes 2. Then here we have 0.05 Q to the power negative 0.5 squared. So 0.05. Then it's now substituting each function. The value of Q is 50. We're going to find the marginal cost as 2 units. So average cost at 50 units is 5. Marginal cost at 50 units is 2. That is how you compute it. All right. So all together,
Yes, sir.
all right. So we now go to the one question. Let me just beam in the actual exam paper, but you see that the question will coming from there. So the next question is giving us, suppose the income is 1,000 and the price of X is 100 and the price of Y is 200. So just to give you a prototype, if you have an income as what? 100%. You have your price of X as 2 kwacha. Price of Y as 5 kwacha. The income is given by I is equal to price of X times X, price of Y times Y. The slope is simply given by negative price of X over price of Y. So in this case, the slope is simply 2 over 5 negative, which is negative 0.4. Then the income equation here will be 100 is equal to what? 2x plus 5y. So to plot this, you get the intercepts here. 2 into 100, you get 50. 5 into 100, we get what? 20. So the equation will cut here. This is our y, and this is our x. So our y, it will cut at 20. Our x, it will cut at what? 50. Now what does this mean? This means that we're going to consume x 50 units to finish all the money, at which the y is 0. Even at this point here, to finish all the money, we're going to consume 20 units and 0 units of what? Of x. But sometimes the examiner would want to say, suppose you are consuming 4 units of x. How many units of y do you consume? We just go here, 4 units of x, bracket y. So you evaluate it. So 2 times 4 is 8, so say 100 is equal to 8 plus 5y. So when the 8 goes inside, it will be 100 minus 8 plus is equal to positive 5y. And this will be what? 92 is equal to 5y. We divide both sides by 5. So y is what? 92 over what? Over 5. What do you get? Two divided by 5?
18.4.
18.4. So this means that here we have 18.4, here we have 4. So we can now go to the exam question here. Our income equation here will be 1000. Let's go to what? 100x plus 200y. If we're going to plot this one, it will cut the y at what? 100 into 1000. It will cut the x at 10. And to cut the y at what? 5. So what does this mean? Indicate the quantities of x that could be consumed to spend all the income. So x, we're going to consume how many? 10 units. Indicate the units of y to spend all the units. How many units of y? 5. What is the budget line? It's the budget line. So this is how this question is supposed to be answered. And what is the slope? The slope is simply the price of x over the price of y. So 100 negative over 200. So this will be negative 0.5. Is that straightforward?
I'm just a bit lost. Why is it negative 100, not 100?
It's a formula for the slope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
inverse
slope.
relationship.
Sorry?
It must be an inverse relationship.
Oh,
It's
okay.
part of the formula.
Okay.
Very clear now? That question was carrying how many marks?
Sorry, just clarity. So always could x should have a negative sign, or it could be vice versa.
You can even put the negative on the was a formula for the slope. Like I mentioned,
Sorry?
the formula for the slope is given by what? Slope is equal to what? The negative is not for x, not for y. So both of them, you can just put it here. Price of x over price of y. That's all.
Okay.
So here we had 100, here at 200. The answer I get is 0.5. So here I have negative 0.5. Okay. So this is the way the paper came out. And it was very easy as follows. So this is 2 marks. These were 8 free marks. Are we following, Penelope? Are we together?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So are we moving together?
Yes, we are.
All right. So now we can look at the characteristics. For market structures and with their characteristics. So the 4 market structures that we have perfect competition, we have monopoly, we have monopolist, We also have oligopoly. So I'll give you 10 characteristics of each. Then we fill in that table. So we want to understand how to answer this table here to know which is a yes and which is a no. But peradventure, it'll be important to understand the characteristics of each. So let's look at, in brief, this market structure. So we have classifications based on the nature of the product, the barriers, the pricing power. And the main structures that we're going to look at are effective competition, monopolistic, oligopoly, monopoly. So I'll give you 10 characteristics. Number one, perfect competition has large number of buyers and sellers. The goods are the same or homogeneous. There's perfect information for all participants. There are no barriers to entry and exit. These are price takers, meaning there's no individual who can control the price. There's no advertising or branding preference. Firms here are price takers and face a horizontal curve. The short-run profits may exist, but in the long run, there's zero economic profit. The allocative and productive efficiency is achieved, and firms here have no market power. This is under what? Perfect competition. Then the other market that you need to know of is the monopolistic. These are not monopoly. You need to understand monopolistic. Monopolistic examples I could give you are restaurants that brand themselves. This is Indian restaurant. So there are a large number of players, which are buyers and sellers. The goods are heterogeneous, meaning you differentiate them. Pizza Hut, Pizza Inn, these they differentiate unique services. Some degree of market power there because of the branding. There are no barriers to entry. There are also non-price competition due to pricing and branding. The firms face a downward curve. In the short run, profits are possible. A long run, almost driven to zero as well. Allocative efficiency exists due to the price being above the marginal cost. There's excess capacity in the long run, and firms engage in private product differentiation strategies. So these are the characteristics of what? Monopolistic. Then we go to the characteristics of oligopoly. The characteristics of oligopoly as follows. There are few large sellers that dominate the market. The products can be homogeneous or differentiated. There are high barriers to entry. The firms have significant market power, which can influence firms. There are interdependent pricing decisions. There are non-pricing competition. The firms have a downward kink demand curve. There are potential in the long run to make economic or even abnormal profits. A possible collusion, product agreement, or limit competition is allocative and productive efficiency. And finally, you have the monopoly. So in the monopoly, the following are the characteristics. Number one, we have a single seller. The goods for you to be a monopoly must be what? Unique. We also have high barriers to entry, complete market power, and price setting is upon the monopoly. Firms face a downward slope. There is no need for advertising or branding. They make abnormal profits both in the long and the short run. There's allocative inefficiency, productive inefficiency may exist, and potential for rent-seeking behavior and reduced consumer surplus is there. So I've sent you the notes on the group just to go through. So now we can fill in the table. Fill in the table unless there are any questions for now. So let's fill in the table. Market power. Perfect competition. Does it have market power? No. Are they interdependent in pricing? No. Is that easy entry and exit? Yes. Monopoly. Do they have market power? Yes. Are they interdependent on each other? No. Is there free exit and entry? No, there are heavy barriers to entry. Are you following from what I was just giving you? So
Yes.
this is how the summary of the table will therefore look like. So perfect competition, no market power, no mutual and there's free entry and exit. Monopoly, market power, yes. Mutual dependence, no. Free entry and exit, no. Monopolistic, market power, no. Mutual dependence, no. Easy entry and exit, yes. Oligopoly, market power, yes. Mutual dependence, yes. Free exit and entry, no. So these are that was supposed to be answered. You needed to understand the whole characteristics. All right. We can now go to question number 2. We can now go to question number 2, unless there are any questions.
Clear from my end.
All right. So when you're given a question like this, the first thing to find the quantity is to substitute the values that have been given. So in this case, we've been given the value, the price of good X, 200, good Y, 15. Our advertising, 200. Our income should what? 10,000. So let's put them in there, and there, and there. Now, I need you to understand
I
that
think that too fast. We didn't even read the question. We've just gone to that. So it's a little bit disturbing because we don't know what we're even looking at.
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that, don't worry. So if you have a multilinear question that may have functions that are given as follows. You'll obviously be given the respective prices. For instance, good X is 1, good Y, they're giving you the price as 2. Income is given maybe by 5, and the advertising is given by 4. They'll ask you first to find the quantity. Now, when you're finding the elasticity from X to X, it is called price elasticity of demand, or it's called on price elasticity. So moving from good X to good X. This is called price elasticity of what? Demand. So you need to get the gradient for good X times the actual price for good X over quantity. And moving from good X to Y, called cross price elasticity of demand. So meaning you're getting the gradient for good Y times the price for good Y over the quantity of good X. Here it's X throughout the quantity. The gradient for good X over the price for good X. If you're moving, this is called the income elasticity of demand. So here what you need to pick is what? The gradient for good X for income times the actual income over the quantity of X. This is income elasticity. So let's find the quantities first by substituting. Where there's Px, we put 1, because that's the price of X. Where there's Py, we put what? 2. Where there's M, we put 5. Where there's advertising, we put what? 4. All together on the substitution. So when you substitute there, you get 4 plus 6 plus 50 plus 20. So I like giving basic examples so that you understand the concept.
Sorry, I'm a bit lost. I don't know where you're getting the 1s from, the 2s from, the 5 from. I don't know if it's in the question. Like I was saying, you just went straight and started talking about the formula. You didn't talk about the question. So I don't know if that's
I
an
don't know whether
example.
you heard. I don't know whether you heard me clearly. I think I mentioned to say, for me to explain, to understand the concepts of the exam question, I'm giving you a hypothetical question that I've just created. So you'll be given
No,
a multilinear demand question, which has the demand for X. Please relax, don't panic. We're given a multilinear equation. We're given the quantity in terms of the good X, good Y, the income and advertising, and you'll be given price of X1, price of Y2, the income 5, and advertising 4. These are just, I'm giving arbitrary figures. It's not part of that question. So as we answer that question, like I did with the rest of the other questions, you may be able to follow. So price of X, you put 1 there, price of Y, put 2, income, you put 5, and advertising, you put what? You put a 4. All together. So when you put these figures in there, you're going to have 4 times 1. So you're just going to evaluate this to find the value of Q. So this will be 77 as a final answer. That's the value of Q. All together at this point.
yes.
So to find the price elasticity of demand, it is simply elasticity X on X. So X on X, firstly, here's a formula. The gradient for X. These are gradients. So the gradient for X is what? -4. The gradient for Y is what? +3. We're just getting these are all gradients. -4, 3, and 5. So the gradient for Y is what? +3. What is the gradient for M, which is the income? 10. What is the gradient for advertising? 5. Are we together on the gradient?
Yes, we are.
Yes. So to find the price elasticity of demand for X, you get the gradient for X times the actual price of both X and the actual quantity we've calculated. So here the gradient for X is what? Not M. The gradient for X is what? 4. -4. Put your -4 there. The price for X, the actual price for X is what? 1/77. So people calculate -4/77, what do we get? Please come with calculators. So here you have -0 point what? 0.05. So this means demand is inelastic. So demand is inelastic if it's less than 1. If it's more than 1, it is elastic. If it's exactly 1, it's units. All right. Then we go to cross price elasticity of demand. So it's crossing. So this is elasticity from good X to Y. So here we're going to go to gradient for good Y times actual price for good Y over the quantity of X. So what is the gradient for good Y? +3. And the actual price for good Y is 2 over 77. So here we're simply going to have 6 over 77, which will give you as +0.077. So here I commented, what type of a good is this? It is a substitute good. So substitute goods are the positive elasticity of demand. So I was explaining to say for income price elasticity of demand, the comment is simply to say if your answer is on A, if your answer is on B, if your answer is on C, on A it is what? Inelastic. On B it is what? Unit elastic. On C it is what? Elastic because it's more than one. That is your key. When you're dealing with cost price elasticity of demand, if you have a negative, if you have a positive. So positive, it means it is what? A substitute good. Negative, it means what? Complementary good. Okay. And when we go to income elasticity of demand, your key is as follows. Say that negative or a positive. That's a positive, what is the meaning? A normal good. It's a negative, what is the meaning? That's an inferior good. An inferior good is a good you demand less of if your income goes up. A normal good is a good which you demand more of if income goes up. Are we together? On the key. Are we together on the key?
Yes.
So in this regard, our income elasticity was a positive. Our cost price elasticity was a positive. So we mean this is what? A substitute good. Similarly, I'm still able to tell if the sides are opposite. Here is positive, here there's negative. It means they are substitute good. If here there's a negative there, it's to see that they're the same one, so they'll be complementing each other. Complementary. That's another idea I'll give you. Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Any questions before I proceed? So we therefore also got to calculate our income elasticity. Income elasticity is a gradient for good M times. So what is the gradient for good M? 10. 10 there. Times the actual price. What is the gradient for good M? 10. The actual price for M is what? 5. And the Q here is 77. So here are 50 over 77, which we get as 0.64 or 0.65 positive. So since we got a positive, what kind of a good is this? Income?
It's a normal good.
The normal good. Now I can take you to the question so you understand.
Sorry, Collins, before you proceed on that point, when do you mention an essential good? Is an essential good the same as a normal good?
Yes, yes.
All right, thanks.
All right. So now, Sarah, I can now cruise confidently, even if I don't know the story of the question here. Whenever you see this, it is simply a linear demand. So you'll be given the parameters. Good X, we're told is what? 200. So here we're going to put a 200. Good Y, it's 15. We're going to put a 15 there. M is the income. We're going to put a 10,000 there. Then A is the 2,000 units. We're going to put a 2,000 units. But you find the Q there. So how much of good X do we need to consume? They're asking for the number of units. Are we together now? Is it making sense now?
Yes,
All right, so when we substitute, in this case, we're going to find 5460. So there's a number of units. How many units will consume of good? 5460. This is after we substituted it. All right. Then next question is, are the goods X and Y substitutes or complements? I gave you two indicators. If the signs are different, what does it mean?
they are substitutes.
Oh, they're substitutes. Or you can calculate it. So how do you find the formula? This is what? XY or XX? So these ones are substitutes. All right. So by calculating what? XY. So here, what is the gradient for good Y? You can tell. So XY will be what? The gradient for good Y is what? -3. Times the actual price for Y is what? 15. Over the total which we found was what? 54.60. Already, whatever I will get here. No, the gradient for good Y is +4. So whatever I'll calculate here, it will be a positive answer. So I know it's a substitute. Are they inferior or normal good? What are they asking us to find? Elasticity of income. So the income here is -1. Then the price of income is 10,000. The quantity is 54.60. Already we have a negative there. The final answer will be negative. Sarah, what type of good is this if it's a negative income?
It's an inferior good.
Good, it's an inferior good. So these are these answers supposed to be gotten. You see how easy the question was? It goes back to what I was explaining. Are we together?
Yes, we-
All right.
There is no
Then we can go to part B. Use demand and supply curves to illustrate how each of the following events would affect the price and quantity of cornflakes. So first you need to understand what the question is trying to get to. All right. We want to understand what the cornflakes are in relation to Jungle Oats, in relation to milk. The cornflakes and Jungle Oats, what are they? They are
They are
substitutes. Good. Then cornflakes and milk, what are they?
complement.
So what will happen if there's an increase in Jungle Oats? People will switch and buy more of cornflakes. So we call that substitution effect. How about if the price of milk goes down, what will happen? The demand of cornflakes,
There'll be an increased demand in conflicts.
because they go hand in hand, they're complements. What if there's a severe drought and affects the growth of corn, which affects the produce of cornflakes? What will happen? The demand for cornflakes.
Jungle Oats will increase. The demand for cornflakes will decrease. Then the demand for Jungle Oats will increase. I don't know. Yes.
Okay, I like your logic, but at the moment, it's independent of these ones. So it's a question that is there. So don't, okay, yeah, anyway, somehow. Anyone else?
the demand for conflicts will increase.
Okay,
The demand for milk would increase as well.
so a severe drought in corn, which is used to manufacture, what will happen? So severe drought in corn will cause a shift in the supply curve as a bar. So there will be a decrease in the amount of corn available. This would result in a new equilibrium moving from P2 to P1 of cornflakes. So the demand of cornflakes will reduce. So the question was asking you to use what? Even graphs? Was there a specific? So use supply and demand curves to illustrate. This question was not easy, so you needed to draw. So it was just not an issue of mentioning. So what happens if there's an increase in price of Django ops? So use this graphs here. So what happens when there's an increase? So when there's an increase in price of Django ops, the following happen. Increase in price of Django oats. Django oats out substitute goods. So there'll be a shift in demand from what? Cornflakes to Django oats. It will shift from the right to the right. Okay. So there'll be a shift in demand to the right.
Sorry, Collins, just here. I've been having challenges with the graphs. So now when you're setting up, so which line is for Django Hots here? It's DC2, DC2.
Yes. So
Then
so demand for cornflakes, demand for Django oats.
then quantity 2, these are Django Hots.
Yes. DC2 is Django oats. DC is complex. So when there's an increase in Django, when there's an increase in price for Django oats, which is substitute for cornflakes, what will happen? There will be a shift in demand for cornflakes. So Django oats. So if Django oats become expensive, you demand more of cornflakes. So demand will increase from DC1 to DC2. So you demand more of what? More on cornflakes. So from DC1 to DC2, all these are cornflakes. There's no Django oats here. Because why? Django oats have become expensive. So meaning the demand will increase for cornflakes. Meaning consumers will prefer to purchase more cornflakes relative to Django oats. So this would now create our new equilibrium from PC1 to PC2. So this is how you got your 3 marks. Then a decrease in price for milk, what will it happen on Django oats? So if the price of milk goes down, what will happen? The demand for Django oats will also increase because they're now able to buy more milk. So DC1 to DC2, it also increase, meaning you're going to buy more cornflakes to meet what? And this is supply for cornflakes. It's still constant. So you're going to increase your equilibrium from E1 to E2. As simple as that. Then what happens if there's a drought? The drought will...
Sorry, just scroll up a bit. I want to confirm something. Again, up. Up on the other. Okay, you can go down because I'm not, this supply, is it
The supply
cable?
function is constant. It doesn't get affected. All right.
Okay.
So the first two does not affect the supply for cornflakes. So supply for cornflakes is the same, except that here what happens is Django also become expensive. So meaning the demand for cornflakes will increase from D1 to D2. So now being able to demand more of cornflakes because of the substitution effect. In this case here, the milk has become what? Cheap. So the supply is still the same. But you're going to demand more of what? Cornflakes from D1 to D2, right? Because they complement, they move hand in hand. So you'll be buying more to be complementing it. However, the last one here, it has nothing to do with demand. The demand will be the same. The supply will decrease from the supply cornflakes one to supply because there's a drought. So meaning what will cause it will shift the supply curve to the left. So whenever you're shifting from S1 to S2, meaning you're reducing on supply, cornflakes will be a few. So meaning it will cause equilibrium to move from E1 to E2. Why? Because supply has reduced. There's insufficient supply. For these other two, supply is the same. It's not being affected. even the supply is the same. Are we together?
Yes.
All right. So I will end here. Unless there are any questions.
Collins,
Mm-hmm.
there's a part where I missed, but I'm kindly asking for the video after.
All right. I'll send the video.
Equally share it with me.
All right. So I've sent the
Are
new
you sending the video in the group? Because I thought class was starting at 6. So I logged in at 6. Only to find it's already started.
Yeah, that's what happened to me as well.
Because you had said
He
it's
said
starting at
5.
6. And then the link
No,
was
he
sent at
posted
5.
5. No, he said 5. He didn't just see it.
All right. So
No,
I've
yes,
sent you
Well,
the miracle kit as well. The solutions. Please get through the solutions. I will send the video in the exam paid for managerial economics. So
okay.
I will stop here, but continue the quantitative methods.